In our next unit in math, we're going to be exploring all kinds of things about geometry. And geometry means that we're going to be working with shapes. And we know that shapes are all around us and that there's two different kinds. You probably remember this from kindergarten or first grade, but we have our 2D shapes and our 3D shapes. And today we're going to start by looking at 2D shapes. And some of the words you're going to hear when we describe shapes are these right here. Side. How many sides does a shape have? In this example, we see that the triangle has 1, 2, 3 sides. We're going to see the word vertex. Vertex is kind of fancy for just saying corner or the point. And on this triangle, we see 1, 2, 3 vertex, or when we have more than one, we say 3 vertices. And then we look at the inside corner and we call that an angle. And we see 1, 2, 3 angles. Do you notice something about when I counted the sides and the vertices and the angles of this triangle? That's right. Hopefully you are all saying, hey, she counted 3 every single time. So when we look at 2D shapes and we talk about their side and vertices and angles, we should see that every single time the numbers match. You can play around with some of your 2D shapes on ConnectEd by going to the eToolkit. And if I go to my eTools here, I'll get all different kinds of resources I can use. And if I go down to here, my 2D shapes library, I can play around with different types of triangles. Let's see here. How do I get it to work is a good question. There we go. I can play around with my different types of squares. So if you notice, before I could start putting them up on my window, I had to click on this triangle over here. I could explore other 4-side shapes like the rectangle, or one of my favorites, the trapezoid. I could look at this rhombus here. You might also be thinking, hey, they kind of are like my pattern blocks at school. And then I can also explore some of my other shapes too, like the circle. Oh, that is not a circle. That's actually a dodecagon, meaning it has 12 sides. You see a circle there? Maybe not. But here I can play with my pentagon, 5 sides. And my hexagon, like that yellow pattern block we have at school. So play around with it a little bit on your own in your eToolkit on ConnectEd. And when you're playing around with the different 2D shapes, really take note of those 3 words we were talking about. How many sides, how many vertices, and how many angles. Have fun.